But there is hope, and right across our region today and right across the country, people of all ages participated in the walk to raise AIDS awareness and also funding for AIDS-related programs. Our Dan McClellan has the story.
And with that, the Halifax leg of the walk started today in Halifax. The afternoon started with opening remarks from the people who are at the forefront of the battle with AIDS.
I'm here for several reasons. First of all, because we want to raise as much money as possible. Also, because we want to remember all those brothers and sisters who have fought a very long battle, but who are no longer with us.
I really hope that this is the last time we ever need to do this walk in sadness. And I look forward to being able to celebrate the end. So, from the bottom of my heart and my family's heart, thank you all very much for being here today.
Other dignitaries, including Premier John Savage and Olympic skating great Brian Orser, were also in attendance to lend their support.
Take the hands up in the air, let's hear it!
And so, after a brief warm-up, the walk was underway. Organizers were hoping for about 1,000 people to attend today's walk, and judging by the crowds, it looks like they've reached that amount.
Well, it's great. At first, I thought the weather was keeping people in, but, you know, they kind of show up slowly, and we're all here. We're having a good time.
I think it's tremendous. I didn't really know what to expect. I guess last year they did 900 people, so it certainly looks like we've got at least that this year.
The walk took place right across the country today, and here in our region, there were tributes. In Sydney, Ryan and Jonathan Gillis raised the AIDS flag in tribute of their older brother Everett, who died of AIDS in 1988.
God above all names.
While in St. John today, the day started with a tribute to Lana Sherwood, the former executive director of AIDS St. John, who died in a motorcycle accident 2 weeks ago. Meanwhile, Janet Connors, the woman who has inspired us all in her family's fight with AIDS, hopes next year the walk will be a celebration.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, even if next year we've saved one kid or one person from getting infected, then that's reason to celebrate.
So as you can see, there was quite a turnout today right across our region, and hopefully some much-needed money will be raised for AIDS programs. Janice, Jonathan?
Thanks, Dan. And of course, we'll have more on this inspirational walk. An exclusive interview right here with ATV News. Brian Orser and Janice Landry just a little bit later in this show. Also today, people hit the streets to raise awareness about mental illness, schizophrenia. The event called Walk the World was held in conjunction with other Walk the World events internationally. Now, over the past 3 years, similar walks have raised about $30,000 for research and education about mental illness. Schizophrenia is a result of a faulty brain biochemistry. It affects about 1 in 100 people.
Downtown Charlottetown became a human pro-life billboard this afternoon. Hundreds of people lined the streets in a silent protest against abortion in what's become a tradition on the first Sunday of October. Dan Vio has more.
Thanks for joining in Life Change. Just head out University Avenue and stand to next to the person beside you, about 8 feet.
Hundreds of people with bright blue signs were a vivid reminder this afternoon that Prince Edward Island is now the only Canadian province where abortions are not performed. No island hospitals allow the procedure, and there are no freestanding abortion clinics, although Dr. Henry Morgenthaler is challenging the island government's stand against abortion in court.
It's unfortunate that a lot of unelected judges are making decisions on this in the courts, and that's too bad that they're, you know, our legislature has not been given the free rein to make legislation and regulations as it should be able to.
While this may be less sensational than the confrontations outside abortion clinics recently, it's clear everyone driving through downtown Charlottetown today got the message.
I think it's a message for the ordinary people. I don't think politicians can mandate rules. It's a matter of faith and morals, and I think that's where it begins, with the people.
I don't think we should ever be discouraged. Keep up the fight.
Civilly, legalistically, they're coming down and they're winning little battles. But the ultimate battle will be when life is over in this world and the real world comes on, and then we see that what we've done here for the little ones, the little children getting into the world, those are the battles that are worth fighting for.
Not only do I see the unborn being hurt, but also the pregnant women too, because they're not really being told the whole story about everything, you know, and they're being hurt afterwards, and it really bothers me to see that.
In Charlottetown, Dan Vio, ATV News.
A Quebec company specializing in PCB cleanups is going to move into Sydney Steel this week. Its job will be to collect contaminants at the site of Cisco Power Station where the fire was in May. But as ATV's Randy McDonald tells us, not everyone's happy with their environmental action plan.
They will decontaminate and demolish and then dispose of the material, as well as the chemicals that they use to do the decontaminating with.
That building clearly needs to be decontaminated and disposed of safely, but it's only a tiny part of the problem.
Initially, they will take samples of the soil in the building and surrounding the building, 100 feet in an area surrounding the building.
We know there was a massive dioxin cloud released over Whitney Pier. They can't afford to clean up Whitney Pier, so they're quite willing to sweep this thing under the carpet.
They will do testing prior to and after the procedure to make sure that everything is in order. We expect to have a clean site. All traces of any PCB material will be decontaminated and disposed of.
Neighbors here are glad that the gutter remains of the contaminated building in their backyards will finally be cleaned up and disposed of. Nonetheless, there remains a degree of concern.
Nobody came to my yard. There was never any testing. They said they tested up here in the playgrounds, but I mean, there was no testing done in any of these yards, I don't think.
One thing I guess I'm concerned about, make sure it's cleaned up well. You know, they do a good job. Apparently, there's not supposed to be much there to start with, but there's something there, you know. So all we're concerned was they do a good job cleaning it up.
All of the PCB contaminants collected during the cleanup will be shipped to a certified disposal site outside of the region. The job is expected to be completed sometime next month. In Sydney, Randy McDonald, ATV News.
In St. John, politicians are gearing up for another fight to save Via rail service to that city. A concerted effort by city residents 10 years ago to help kept the trains calling. But this looks like a bigger challenge. Via has announced trains will no longer travel to the city after December 15th. Connell Smith has more.
Since 1990, Via Rail service to St. John has been limited to 3 calls per week in each direction. This was a compromise that staved off complete elimination of service here. But many claimed then that it was the beginning of the end. That limited service just wouldn't work.
And we serve them, make their lunches for them.
Steve Savoy runs the Earl of Leinster Bed and Breakfast. He says the train schedule is too awkward for tourists.
We have no place to put them until 11, 12, 1.
Savoy says passengers from Montreal arrive too early to check in at hotels and bed and breakfasts. The alternate day service also causes problems.
If you want to stay an extra day, you might want to stay an extra day in St. John, but you have to stay 2 extra days, or if you want to leave because you have to go someplace else.
Savoy believes good bus links to Moncton will work better.
They sure keep it.
Many city residents want to keep the train, although most admit they don't use it.
Well, I know I never used it. Have you?
We've never used it, but I think it'd be nice for the tours.
I've gone to Montreal quite a few times, Toronto. I do a fair amount of traveling. I don't like flying.
Deputy Mayor Shirley McAlery says she'll fight for some type of rail link.
I'm certainly going to speak on it in council tomorrow night to see if we can do something about trying to promote the dayliner to come in here.
After mid-December, we may not have any passenger rail service, but we'll have a dandy new train station. Via just opened it last year. The station was moved to make way for the Civic Center. In St. John, Connell Smith, ATV News.
Well, next summer, the 7 leaders of the industrial world and Russian President Boris Yeltsin will all gather right here in Halifax for their annual summit. Now, having such important world leaders in one place at one time means a lot of heavy security. Well, the RCMP is in charge of it during the G7 summit, and since the 21st of September, more than 100 Mounties have been polishing up their driving skills. As John Waterman tells us tonight, those Mounties are the ones who'll have to know their stuff just in case of terrorist attack.
You should almost be able to sit in the back seat of this automobile and have a glass of champagne, and I won't dump it on your tuxedo.
This is not your average RCMP chase. These are Mounties, though, pushing their driving skills to the limit. If they finish the course with a squeaky clean record, They'll be ready for any emergency during the G7 summit.
In the event that a motorcade was ever attacked by individuals or an individual, that our people would have the skills and know how to evade that attack.
Okay, we've talked about it. We've seen basically what this is all about. Now let's put all that theory to the test.
Don't hit the cones, and I'll slow right down. Brake, steer, excel. Simulation, of course, that these are cement walls. We don't want to hit these, right? Because if you hit them, where are you? You're out of the game. Brake hard, steer hard, excel hard, and away you go. As you bring the car out, now we have the high-speed lane changes. First one is set for 80 kilometers. Get the car up to speed, so we don't look at that anymore. When you're in here, accelerate now. Makes the car stabilize. That's what we're trying to make these people understand.
Not just the Mounties are going through this rigorous drill. Some military police have also done it.
With the VIP escorts that are normally done from Shearwater, we now have a better understanding of what their responsibilities are.
CFB Shearwater was considered an ideal spot for this 2 weeks of training.
And it hasn't impacted a great deal on our operations. We just certainly have to move things around a bit, but everybody gets their job done and done well.
Watch the light, lights on, brake, and bring it right down to a smooth control stop.
Today was the last day of this exercise. There will be more before next summer's G7 summit. At CFB Shearwater, John Waterman, ATV News.
Some fancy driving there. Well, fall was definitely in the air today. It was cold out there. Time now for our first fast look at weather with meteorologist Phil McLaughlin. Phil.
Yes, Janice, the weather not too user-friendly across the Maritimes. This first October weekend, we saw a blend of sunshine, cloud, and a few sprinkles around. There you can see the satellite imagery. Well, the cloud is just looping around. It's slow to push off to the north or the east, and this will be the pattern over the next few days. When I'm back on the half hour, we're going to have the weather cast, of course. In addition to that, I'll also have the outlook for the month of October for the Maritimes and all across Canada, and also the Northern Lights for this upcoming week. So stay tuned here for the Fall Facts on ATV. Now we'll go over to sports and see what Ricky has for this evening.
Thanks, Phil. Here tonight in sports, we'll open with the latest around the NFL. And we'll tell you who won last night when a young Canadian boxer stepped into the ring against an aging former heavyweight champ. Also, we'll introduce you to a young swimmer who could be the next darling of maritime swimming. Plus, we'll update you on the CFL. All this and more coming up in sports later tonight. But first, back to Janice and Jonathan.
Thanks, Ricky. Well, she's finally done it. Whoopi Goldberg got married this weekend. Details later in the show for you.
But up next, we have the skating champion, Brian Orser. He was one of thousands of people who took part in Canada today in a Walk for AIDS. He's here on ATV for a live interview right after this short break.
It's going to help a lot. Two-time Olympic silver medalist, 1987 world champion, 8-time Canadian.
You want a taste you can't resist? There's no bag chip you can pop like this. Chips and bags got busted pieces. Get your hands on the one that pleases.
The Pringles can't stop. Pop, the Pringles can't stop.
You got the stack, you got the bunch. For a whole lot of takes of the Pringles crunch. You got the duckbill lizard too. Pringles brings great taste to you.
The Pringles can't stop. Pop, the Pringles can't stop.
So can those bag dip Pringles chips? Ain't nothing like Pringles across your lips. Yeah, once you pop, you can't stop.
On these two t-shirts, you can see the amazing difference new Ultra-Tide makes. But just in case you need a closer look, watch for the real thing coming to your mailbox soon. So you can see for yourself that new Ultra-Tide really does help keep your clothes looking newer, longer.
Can one little bottle of Ultra Downy soften more than a big jug of the next best brand? The big jug stopped here. Downy went on to soften 50 loads.
Because you use one tiny capful, Ultra Downy softens more, softens better. Wow. 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 It must be the baking soda. Wow.
It must be Arm & Hammer's baking soda toothpaste.
Wow.
Arm yourself with a new kind of protection. Arm & Hammer Deodorant Antiperspirant. Instead of just covering up odor, it absorbs it with Arm & Hammer Baking Soda. New from Arm & Hammer, the first and only odor-absorbing antiperspirant.
So what is a pellet stove?
An amazing new heat source that is quite simply the best way to heat with wood.
Well, who makes the best brand?
Dr. Jerry Whitfield, the inventor and largest manufacturer. His forced air system burns pellets at an even, controllable heat.
What about the pellets?
Pellets are made from waste sawdust. No new trees are cut. They're easy to find, easy to use.
Available at Maritime Fireplaces Moncton, Sunpoke Energy Systems Fredericton, Squires Energy Systems St. John, Dingy's Energy Systems Centerville, Gasco Limited Grand Falls, and Superior Heating Limited Sussex.
Keep you safe and healthy.
Humans aren't the only ones who need, well, a little divine intercession every now and then. Hundreds of people brought pets and even animal ashes to be blessed at a Roman Catholic church in San Francisco yesterday. It's the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of animals and the spiritual protector of the city by the bay.
Sarah.
And now with more on today's Walk for AIDS and the upcoming Skate the Dream event in Halifax, here's Janice now with skating champ Brian Orser.
Well, first of all, Brian, I want to say thank you very much for coming to the show tonight. A lot of people we heard turned out right across Canada today for the walk. In Halifax, you participated. Were you impressed with the turnout you saw today?
Yeah, I was impressed, and also with just talking to a lot of the people that came out, and from all walks of life, really. It wasn't specific people that came out. It was everyone, and that was nice to see, and families and kids and the skating club, and that's what it's really all about.
I think maybe you wouldn't have seen that a few years ago, especially about something about AIDS. I guess we're breaking some of those barriers down now.
I think we are, and it takes society to really get a grip on it and make it okay to say the A word and to do something about it, and for corporations to get involved, and families and friends, and it's us, it's the society that's going to help out.
Now, earlier in the first section of the show, we saw some pictures of you with Janet Connors today, and as our viewers know, her husband Randy recently passed away of AIDS. She now has full-blown AIDS herself, and we've seen her speak over and over again. She has an incredible strength. You got to meet her today. What did you think of her?
Well, I got to meet her at a time where she's mourning, the death of her husband, and it's, when someone is suffering with AIDS and there's such a long time that they're sick, and you think, and you know that they're going to die, and you think that you've dealt with it, and then when it happens, it hurts so much, and she is hurting a lot, and you can see that, and so that's why I was so impressed with her strength to come out and to speak so soon after her husband passed away. She's an incredible woman and quite an example set in this area.
And you've also lost, friends to AIDS, Rob McCall, a fellow skater and good friend of yours. You're also in town because you're involved with Skate the Dream, which is a fundraiser in his memory that's coming up in Halifax in a few weeks. Tell us about the incredible lineup of people that are coming from all over the world.
It's going to be a terrific show, and ultimately what we're doing is we're going to help establish the Rob McCall Center for HIV Research, which is really exciting. But we have Olympic champions, world champions. We have Gordiev and Grinkoff, who won the world championships right here in Halifax, current Olympic champions. Isabelle Versuren and Lloyd Eisler, world champions.
They're so awesome.
Jose Chouinard, myself, Tyler Cranston, Scott Hamilton, Christine Huff, Doug Ledre, Beskinova Bukin, Klimova Ponomarenko, a lot of amazing people and amazing skaters.
So I hear there are still a few tickets left for this event, so get out and snap them up. But secondly, tell us a little bit about how the show is going to go. It's going to be a lengthy show, we hear. It's going to be a good one.
Well, it's going to be a good one, and for those who like skating, you're going to see a lot of it. We'll have 15 acts, so everybody will skate twice, so that's 30, and so it's going to be at least 2 hours, the show. Good quality skating. It'll be friends just getting together for this cause, to raise money for AIDS research, and also to help establish the Rob McCall Center, which is really kind of exciting. Rob is a good friend of all of us, and he competed with a lot of us. We were on the same teams together. He competed against a lot of these skaters too, and shared the Olympic podium with them. So that's what it's all about. It's all friends getting together to help.
Well, thank you very much for coming in today, and that sounds like it's going to be a great event. So again, get out and snap up those remaining tickets. And now it's over to Jonathan.
Thanks, Janice. Still ahead tonight, the latest from the national and international scene. The violence continues this weekend in Haiti. In the latest incident, guards at a food warehouse opened fire on a crowd of would-be looters. An update on the tense situation is up next.
This is the factory of a leading North American tire maker. They make excellent tires with the kind of traction and mileage life Canadians need. In fact, they're so good, we chose them to make MotoMaster tires for Canadians.
What do you know about rust check?
Rust check? I don't tell nobody about it. I don't even want to hear about it. It's supposed to stop rust. Yeah, all right, sure. Rust check works. That's off the record. I got a financial empire to protect here.
Rush Check. It's guaranteed forever.
It's even got this guarantee forever warranty that says so.
At the Pond's Institute, women were given the chance to look years younger. This is what most women noticed when they tested Pond's new age-defying complex with Alpha Nutrium. Softer skin, improved radiance, even a reduction in the appearance of wrinkles. Age-defying complex, new from the Pond's Institute.
I go there practically every day. It's my second home. You still feel when you come to Jonquière that you can afford the luxuries. I like to pamper myself. The oasis of the cosmetics counter. I love perfumes. The personal attention as well. They know what they're talking about, but at the same time, very approachable. You can't beat the prices.
And you can't beat all the benefits of our Passion for Beauty card. Ask your cosmetician for details.
I am somebody at Jean Couture.
Mass in Port-au-Prince today, but still the violence continues. Clinton administration officials began the military operations in Haiti, hoping that Haiti's police force would take a leading role in maintaining order. But 3 straight days of violence is forcing them to rethink that goal. They now say U.S. soldiers will work more aggressively to prevent unrest in that country.
And the Haitian police force will still be expected to deal with security threats.
But if it doesn't, U.S. troops could step in, possibly by disarming Haitian military supporters. The apparent policy shift comes after U.S. troops again faced violence in Port-au-Prince on Saturday. Private guards at a food warehouse fired on a crowd of would-be looters, injuring at least 9. Richard Blystone has more.
Yesterday, it was not just a mob. They were looting in teams, guarding their booty with knives. Warning shots by Haitian policemen impressed nearby U.S. MPs, but not even a whiff of pepper gas could stop the takeaway. Warned not to use deadly force, the Haitians had to look on. With the police emasculated, the mob has learned there's nothing to fear as long as they don't threaten the Americans. And they tested how much they'd put up with. In the end, it was almost contempt, good-natured contempt for the time being. The U.S. says it's okay to defend yourself or your property if you don't use excessive force. But if the MPs had arrived here a couple of minutes earlier, would they have shot this warehouse owner because he was firing at unarmed Haitians? The wounds were from birdshot. Where does excessive start? The owner claims the crowd had attacked his warehouse compound because they believed the U.S. had disarmed his guards.
Since they've been here, there's been looting all over the place. And everybody's been standing by and laughing.
Property owners complain the soldiers are only protecting looters. Trouble is, it seems other Haitians have come to believe that, too. Raiding the paramilitaries for arms is one thing, but the big challenge is one of persuasion. Persuading people with guns to give them up, persuading the mobs that they could touch off something that would jeopardize everything they say they want. Richard Blystone, CNN, Port-au-Prince.
Friends and family gathered Saturday in New York to remember a boy who was killed when a game of make-believe turned all too real. 13-year-old Nicholas Hayward and some friends were playing with toy guns on a roof of a housing project. Someone reported people with guns to police. An officer ran into Nicholas in a stairwell, saw his plastic gun, and shot him.
Well, the majority of U.S. lawyers now believe that O.J. Simpson will escape conviction in the double murder of his ex-wife and a friend. A poll that is going to be published tomorrow says that 61% of the lawyers surveyed think the trial will end in a not guilty verdict or a hung jury. Of those, 22% believe he will be acquitted. 39% believe the jury will not be able to reach a verdict.
Well, voters in Brazil will decide between 6 candidates for president when they go to the polls tomorrow. Marina Mirabella tells us tonight economic stability has become the deciding issue in this campaign.
This is a first for Marcia and her sister Mercia, an afternoon at the amusement park, a simple pleasure they couldn't afford just a few months ago. But now their father's salary goes a lot further. He earns about $150 a month as a maintenance man in a Rio apartment building. It's not a lot, he says, but it's not being devoured by inflation the way it used to be. Life is better. That's the way many Brazilians are feeling these days, and they credit this man, Fernando Henrique Cardoso. He's the candidate of the Social Democratic Party and the overwhelming favorite to win Brazil's presidential election. Before running for office, he was the finance minister who introduced a new currency and a plan that has reduced monthly inflation from 50% to almost 1%.
Seen by most of the Brazilians as the man responsible for the stability of the currency, and the man they have confidence that would maintain that stability if he is elected president.
Cardoso's main opponent is Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, known here simply as Lula. He represents Latin America's most powerful workers' party. He started high in the polls, but with the success of the anti-inflation plan, he now trails Cardoso by 20 points. While economic stability is the big issue in this election, the winner faces a long list of overwhelming social problems. Terrifying levels of urban crime and violence, social services in chaos, and huge disparities of wealth. The rich elite lives well, while 32 million live in wretched poverty. Finding solutions to these problems will be the biggest challenge facing Brazil's next president.
The growing gap between the two frontrunners means Cardoso could avoid a November runoff election. That's if he gets more than 50% of the vote when Brazilians head to the polls on Monday. Marina Mirabella, CNN, Rio de Janeiro.
In Michigan, Dr. Jack Kevorkian has taken an artistic approach to raise money for his work with assisted suicides. A two-week exhibit that opened Saturday night in a Detroit suburb features paintings by Kevorkian. The doctor calls them political cartoons in oils that are a cross between graffiti and fine art. He's hoping that posters and postcards based on some of this art can raise some money for petitions drive to force a statewide vote on assisted suicides. Still ahead tonight, Phil McLaughlin has the latest weather as we prepare for another new week.
And on the weather front, we have some amazing pictures of a bizarre hailstorm. Take a look at that. Details in just a couple of minutes.
You can hear it, though. So much for the new truck.
Where can a roll of film develop into so much more?
More and more!
Where can a nightlight switch into so much more?
More and more!
Only at Zellers Club Z, where you can join the millions who turn everyday shopping into free Club Z rewards.
More!
Where can anything become more?
And more!
Only at Club Z. More rewards, more savings, more money back. Zellers, where the lowest price is the law every day.
A clean, modern alternative to conventional heating. EnviroFire pellet stoves, a smart way to supplement home heating. Wood pellets are a natural, renewable source of heat, giving you total control and comfort. Freestanding or as a fireplace insert, EnviroFire pellet stoves are easily installed. Today's models even light by themselves. Consider safety and the environment. Think Canadian with EnviroFire pellet stoves. Call 1-800-561-7019 now and ask for Operator 3 for information on the smartest home heating investment you can make.
I'll get a headache from tension and stress.
It hurts so much. I couldn't get my work done. When I get a headache, I want quick relief.
Get relief with extra-strength Tylenol gel caps. All the headache relief of extra-strength Tylenol covered in a gelatin coating, making it easier to swallow. So effective pain relief isn't a pain to swallow.
Gel caps took my headache away.
They did the trick for me. It worked fast for me.
Extra-strength Tylenol gel caps, the strength you want from the name you trust.
This fall, famous designers are showing bold prints. Skirts are pleated. Backs are bare. Leon's fall fashion event is on now, so you can dress up your home with all the latest looks. Stylish looks you won't find anywhere else. And the biggest news this season is you don't pay until July 95. You'll notice body-hugging styles are still in vogue. Leon's fall fashion event. Don't be fashionably late, or you'll miss it.
So the question is, how do you do the top? We don't.
Chilly job, but the crew at this Charlottetown car wash was scrubbing and rinsing all sorts of vehicles, including the city's only bus. Meanwhile, Ken Doyle was polishing his 1972 Grand Le Mans just out of storage for the last 10 years.
What a beauty.
Yeah, good day for a car wash. Earlier today, I looked over at my friend Phil during weather and came to realize that it looked like he had won the Masters with his brand new green jacket. Have you, Phil? Did you win the Masters?
That's right, and lots of green grass out there to go with the, well, I can't say summer weather continues because it doesn't. We all know that. Looking at the, October temperature prediction for the full month, now this is provided by Environment Canada. For we here in the Maritimes, the prediction is in the long range for normal temperatures, so that means 13 to 15 for daytime highs, and of course getting cooler towards the end of the month. Back in Western Canada, above normal temperatures. However, today things are different in the Maritimes. It's cooler, and out in the west, it's snowing. So here's the jet stream, much like yesterday's jet. The polar jet continues to carve that trough across the eastern part of the country, and we're going to be locked into that weather pattern for this upcoming week, so temperatures staying a tad below normal and a bit unsettled from time to time. And down to the south, the subtropical jet pushing across. Now the bonus is with the west to east motion here with the upper level wind flow, the vigorous system down to the south, the tropical low that we'll see in a second, looks like it should steer out to the western Atlantic and avoid us here in the Maritimes. We certainly hope so. So today's weather map, we do though nonetheless have our own low parked over the western parts of Newfoundland and just sort of sitting there quasi-stationary. Now secondary trough we see here, that'll be rotating around, pivoting around over the next 24 hours, kicking off a few showers. Out to the west quickly, in behind this low, it's cool air coming down and snow is falling. Snowfall warnings though have now ended. They're only expecting now an additional 10 centimeters of wet snow. And down to the southeast, the tropical low down there, again, copious amounts of rain and thunderstorms across the southeast with flooding and all the rest. So here's the close-up, and look at this. This is the Jim Dandy, or Dandy Jim. Lots of precipitation coming out of that, but hopefully it'll stay down this way and push out with the jet stream. And up in our area, here's this trough we're watching, and that'll be pivoting around and giving us a bit of cloud and sun showers over the next while. So close up of the Caribbean, pretty quiet across the equatorial waters, so all we have to worry about is this system here over the Florida area and into Mississippi and Alabama. And as I say, right now it looks like that should not bother we here in the Maritimes. Up in the Maritimes, we put the satellite image into motion. We'll see now how this just sort of spins around like it has done the last few days. And up here across Labrador, Quebec, you can see the trough, and that'll be coming around over the next while. And ditto will be the weather over the next few days here in the three provinces. Forecast-wise, overnight tonight, much like last night, patchy cloud around, a better chance of some showers off to the eastern part of the Maritimes. Again, some wet snow flurries for the Acadian Peninsula, it wouldn't surprise me. And partly clear skies to the western areas, and a cool night again, single digits everywhere across the three provinces, and breezy as well out of the west. Now those areas that do experience a bit of clear skies tonight with lighter winds developing, there is also that chance of a frost overnight tonight. Tomorrow, much like today's weather, showers, greater chance again off to the east, mix of cloud and sun in the western part of the Maritimes, brisk to strong west to northwest winds. Daytime temperatures, if you like today's temperatures, tomorrow temperatures, the same, cool, a few degrees below normal. And my long ranger to finish up the weathercast going into the days Tuesday and Wednesday, a mix of cloud and sunshine for each day, can't rule out scattered showers, and temperatures staying a few degrees below normal. That's the weather for now. I'll be back later with the wake-up weather. News now continues with Jonathan.
Thanks, Phil. Well, if you didn't like that weather, it's not nearly as bad as they had in Colorado, where golf-sized hail shattered the windshield of United Express jet shortly after taking off last night. Now, that forced the pilot to return to the Denver airport. Glass fragments injured both the pilot and the co-pilot. Luckily, none of the 16 passengers aboard were hurt. Hail and 40-mile-an-hour winds also damaged homes and other property in Denver. Here's a look at that storm.
You couldn't see it coming. The rain was too heavy. You could hear it, though. So much for the new truck.
Man, that's a lot of hail.
I think we better get out of here.
Just hitting constantly and hard. Inside, the entire house literally shook. It was almost as though someone had put a tow trailer on the front and started moving it. It was shaking violently. It sounded like we were being pelted with rocks. It was literally, it was just like there was an avalanche hitting the house. We have a lot of rippling on this car that is all hail damage and across the roof. The back window has been completely put out. You can see at this point they've been melting for a couple of hours. but at the time they were hitting, they were literally the size of Major League baseballs. This amazed me. This amazed me. It had to be coming down really hard to put holes through a Rubbermaid trash lid. Had to be coming down very hard indeed to do that. These things are meant to give, and they obviously were coming fast and hard to put holes through something like that. Hail particles were hitting hard enough that they went right through the aluminum. As you look up there, you can actually see ice particles hanging through the broken aluminum right about there. It had to have been hitting like bullets to go through an aluminum awning. That's how hard it was hitting, and that's one of the reasons I was extremely concerned being inside.
That's the only place to be during a hailstorm like that.
Well, I know I was in Toronto in June, and that's the only place I've ever been in a hailstorm, and it hurts. I just went inside. It was incredible. It looked like it was snowing outside. It was coming down so hard.
When they're that big, I think it more than hurts. They injure.
Yes, for sure.
Straight ahead tonight, Ricky Anderson with all the latest from the world of sports.
Tonight, meet a rising maritime star poolside when we come back after this short break.
My daughter thinks I'm a bit wild. She's a little on the conservative side. But when she talked to me about my arthritis pain, I listened. She says a lot of the pain can be caused by inflammation. So I should be taking something specially made for the pain of inflammation. Entrophin. Well, Entrophin really does help me move more freely. The doctor was right.
Entrophin, for the pain of inflammation in the strength that's best for you.
Refreshing. Revealing. Irresistible. Navy. Memorable. Marvelous. 1 in a million. Navy. You always feel perfect in Navy. Navy. The clean, classic fragrance by CoverGirl.
I'd love a fireplace.
All that chopping? No, thanks.
A speedy propane fireplace chops out wood cutting.
We could cuddle up in front of a roaring fire.
Once I get it lit.
A speedy propane fireplace lights instantly.
It would be so romantic.
And so messy.
With Speedy Propane, there's no ash to clean up. Cuddle up to a new flame. Call today for your free Speedy Propane fireplace video.
I go there practically every day. It's my second home. You still feel when you come to Jean Coutu that you can afford the luxuries. I like to pamper myself. The oasis of the cosmetics counter. I love perfumes, the personal attention as well. They know what they're talking about, but at the same time, very approachable. You can't beat the prices.
And you can't beat all the benefits of our Passion for Beauty card. Ask your cosmetician for details.
I am somebody at Jean Coutu.
A big jump. Once more.
Some ice action today at the Lady Beaverbrook Arena in Fredericton as Caitlin Hayden gets help from Coach Lisa Rain on her jumps. It's fall skating school time, and young skaters from 6 to 14 years old are getting ready for a competition in Chatham in 2 weeks. And good luck to them.
That's the only ice action you're going to be seeing these days with the NHL on strike. But there is lots of sports today, and Ricky Anderson joins us now live with all the latest. Ricky?
Thanks, guys, and good evening, everyone. With hockey on a 2-week break, sports fans can tune in for Sunday football. Week 5 in the NFL, and here's what's happening. The New England Patriots came back from 2 turnovers in the first half and a 14-point deficit to trip the Green Bay Packers this afternoon, 17-16. In the U.S. Capitol, it was a great old rivalry as the Cowboys played the Redskins. Problem is, Washington isn't the team it once was. They got hammered 34-7. And what happened to the Lions after beating the Cowboys in OT 2 weeks ago? The Lions have now lost 2 straight. Today, the lowly Tampa Bay Bucks beat them 24-14. Also today, the Colts nipped the Seahawks 17-15, and the Jets were hammered by the Browns 27-7. The rest of the late afternoon NFL action features the winless Arizona Cardinals at home against Warren Moon and the Minnesota Vikings. Atlanta takes on the Los Angeles Rams. The New York Giants are in New Orleans. Chicago is home to face the Bills, and Philadelphia faces San Francisco. CFL action this afternoon saw the Ticats tangle with the Argos. A real barn burner in this one as Toronto came from way back and scored 28 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to trip the Ticats 39-36. The other game in the CFL tonight pits the Calgary Stampeders against the Las Vegas Posse. The Stamps have won 6 of 8 against West Division opponents. This season, the Posse are 4 points out of a possible playoff spot in the West. Good result for a Maritime athlete today in New York. The women's 5th Avenue Mile was run this afternoon. American Regina Jacobs won the race, but Robin Mara of Mulgrave, Nova Scotia, placed second. Congratulations. When the darling of maritime swimming Nancy Garpick swam to a double bronze medal performance at the '76 Olympic Games in Montreal, Halifax native Molly Cito wasn't even born. But now Cito has come of age, and many are now wondering, will this young swimming sensation become the next Nancy Garpick?
I like to follow in her footsteps because she's like a really great swimmer, and if I get to that level, I'd like to do as well as her and maybe even better.
During the East Coast Swimming Championships held in June, the 12-year-old won the 800-meter freestyle in a time of 9:44.35, more than 6 seconds faster than the old record, which was set by Garpick in '74. Molly, you broke 2 of the Maritime's oldest swim records. How did you feel when you won the race?
Afterwards, it didn't really hit me till like later because I was so tired, exhausted from the race, but it felt really good though because it's a nice feeling to have two records in your hands.
The Halifax Trojans member who broke the 400-meter freestyle record for girls aged 11 and 12 in a time of 4:47.54 during the same event says competitive swimming is a family affair.
My oldest sister, Carway Cito, she went to the 1988 Seoul Olympics, but she swam for Taiwan. She has dual citizenship. She swam 100 the breaststrokes events. And my other 2 sisters, Kitlin and Carme, they swim summer.
I want you to get your legs to continuously kick.
Coach Gary McDonald, a former native of British Columbia and a member of Canada's 200-meter medley relay team that won silver at the '76 Olympic Games, says Cito is a gifted athlete. Molly is certainly Olympic bound. How well could she do at the Olympics?
Well, it's difficult to say at this age, you know, because she did grow early, which is her strength right now. I think right now if her technique gets better, I really do think that she could do very, very well.
The junior high school student and triple gold medal winner at the Eastern Canada Cup swim meet in Newfoundland this past July says she hopes to continue her winning ways as she looks to the Olympics.
I like to go to like nationals and stuff, maybe go 200 IM and 400 IM, my better events.
Cito's first competition of the season will take place in Port Hawkesbury, Nova Scotia at the end of the month. And finally tonight in sports, Shane Sutcliffe of Nanaimo scored an 8th-round decision over former heavyweight champ Leon Spinks. Sutcliffe, nicknamed Kid Thunder, improved his record to 11-2 with the victory over the 40-year-old Spinks, who was tempting a comeback. Spinks says his next fight will be against another aging former champion, Larry Holmes. And guys, that's sports.
Hey, Ricky, you're talking about making a comeback all the time. Spinks is back on the trail, 40 years old, pretty soft. Any thought of getting in on that action?
Again, John, I have to tell you, I'm too old, buddy.
Oh! But you're up in the right weight classification now.
Heavyweight.
Thanks a lot, Ricky.
Coming up, Whoopi Goldberg ties the knot this weekend.
And also, a theater troupe is doing its part to help save an endangered animal. The story after this short break.
To get your Zapper Zone Maker, you can send in 4 tokens from specially marked Smarties Packs. Plus $1.50 and get zapping.
Una
pizza McDonald's alla pepperoni formato famiglia, proprio all'italiana. Fette di pepperoni, mozzarella fresca, salsa ricca, sopra un pasta distinta. Delizioso! Cosa c'è di meglio? Una pizza pepperoni formato famiglia for $5.99? Or 2 pizze for $10? Meraviglioso! Mamma mia!
At McDonald's today.
Arm yourself. Arm yourself. Arm yourself with a new kind of protection. Arm & Hammer Deodorant Antiperspirant. Instead of just covering up odor, it actually absorbs it with genuine Arm & Hammer baking soda. And it keeps you dry. So arm yourself with the first and only odor-absorbing antiperspirant. New from Arm & Hammer.
When you use the Canadian Tire credit card, you'll be rewarded for every store purchase, large or small. With the Options Card Member Reward Program, you'll earn valuable options points that can be redeemed towards the purchase of any product right in the store. You can save from $5 to $500 on everything from hardware to auto service to sporting goods. So use the Canadian Tire credit card. One card, many rewards. There's a lot more to Canadian Tire for a lot less.
Okay, there's a familiar sound. A college in Olympia, Washington is boldly going where no school has ever gone before. Evergreen College is offering a course based on the Star Trek TV series. The Trekkie tutorial begins Monday. Sessions will delve into relationships between popular culture, the media, and science and technology. 29 students are on the waiting list to beam into the already full class.
Well, want to be a shock jock or just play one of the movies? Now's the chance. Boys interested in portraying shock radio personality Howard Stern can sign up for the opening casting call in California. They're looking for people to play Stern from the ages of 6 to 14 years old and as an adolescent. The film will be based on Stern's best-selling autobiography, Private Parts.
And friends of actress Whoopi Goldberg turned out Saturday to see her in her newest role as a wife. Goldberg married 38-year-old Lyle Trachtenberg at her home in Pacific Palisades area of Los Angeles. The groom is a representative of the Union of Technical and Craft Workers in the film industry. He met the 44-year-old Goldberg on the set of Sister Act 2.
So if you went to that university, what would you get, a BA in Trekology? On our travel file tonight, the staff at Zoo Atlantic keeps themselves busy, but recently they took a break for a treat from a unique theater troupe.
The actors were on a serious mission to save the black rhinoceros in South Africa. Brian Nelson has the story.
Theater for Africa is on tour to raise awareness of the black rhino.
The biggest concentration of black rhino and the only really productive herd left in the world, in the wild, is now in our part of the world.
South Africa is one of the few countries where the black rhino population is on the rise, thanks in part to unique conservation efforts, such as this traveling theater project. People learn to value the rhino and, in turn, to value their homeland. Theater for Africa hopes its message will persuade others to help end the poaching of the black rhino.
What is the future of this little one here?
Cut off the hunt!
It is to be free.
Man is the one who sees so little, so late. Your loss will live forever to mock man.
This is Brian Nelson, CNN Travel Guide.
Straight ahead tonight, a last look at our weather and also ATV's primetime lineup.
But up next, what would you do if you saw a gorilla at a shopping mall? Well, probably drop your parcels and run, right? Well, it's a hair-raising story when we come back.
One in a million. Navy. You always feel perfect in Navy. Navy. The clean, classic fragrance by CoverGirl.
Can one little bottle of Ultra Downy soften more than a big jug of the next best brand? The big jug stopped here. Downy went on to soften 50 loads.
Because you use one tiny capful, Ultra Downy softens more, softens better.
When buying a new or used vehicle, you'll need the answer to some important questions, like which dealership will listen and not talk at you? Where will you find the dealership that has a leading reputation in sales and service? Where will you find superior selection at good value? The answer, Fairview Plymouth Chrysler. Right now, get this 1994 Chrysler Intrepid fully loaded with power windows, air conditioning, V6, and much more, now for only $424.03 per month. We're your friends at Fairview Plymouth Chrysler, Fredericton.
These are the room cards, and what we're going to do with the room cards is tell you what's going on in your life and what's going to happen in your life.
The wonders of the psychic world unfold today at a fair in Sydney, dedicated largely to helping people figure out their future. Cards, palm reading, and of course those telltale tea leaves are all important instruments in the psychic search for what may lay ahead. Going rate for a reading, about $25.
Yeah, what lies ahead is your little lighter in your wallet. Seeing a live gorilla in a shopping center probably would frighten most people, but not the folks in Tacoma, Washington, where it's common sight.
That's right. As Roberto Romero tells us, it's an era that it's about to end.
Ivan calmly stayed in his cage while hundreds of his fans came to say goodbye.
He's always been here. He was something for our kids, and now they're going to take him. It's not fair.
A giant cake with his favorite ingredients, bananas, pineapples, and oranges, was made especially for Ivan. Others also got to enjoy it. This is a going-away party for Ivan. For nearly 30 years, he has lived in this 40-foot by 40-foot cage. But now Ivan's trustee has worked out a deal with the Woodland Park Zoo and Zoo Atlanta.
Ivan gets to go get on the bus and go to school, finally. You know, he gets to meet with the other gorillas. And I think he's going to have a great life in Atlanta. I really do.
The terms of the agreement include not changing Ivan's name and not allowing any medical procedures on Ivan for his sperm. Woodland Park Zoo would also retain ownership and only loan Ivan out to Zoo Atlanta. It took some time to work out the details.
It's been a long road, and Blanca's been a good person to negotiate with, tough. But I think it's a fair agreement, and it will protect Ivan. And I have no doubts that he's going to do very well in Atlanta.
So now Ivan will go to his fancy new home in Atlanta, leaving behind many faithful friends. A giant going-away card will be sent along with Ivan to his new home in Atlanta.
Ivan was one of the first landmarks we saw, and it's going to be kind of sad to see him go.
He's been a fixture ever since I've been here. And we come down and see him quite often. And we thought we'd just come down today to say goodbye to him.
We just hate to see Ivan go. We've been into the store many, many times, especially as the kids were growing up. They enjoyed him so much. We're sorry to see him leave. This is really too bad.
Yeah, I guess that piece speaks for itself. Now for our last fast look at weather, here's Phil.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well, to wake up today, Monday, we go with a mix of clouds and sunshine, much like today's wake-up weather for Sunday, with a few scattered showers, particularly off to the eastern parts of the Maritimes. Chilly up in northern New Brunswick, around the freezing mark, +5 across the southern parts of the Maritimes to start the day off Monday. And tomorrow's weather, much like today's weather, a blend of cloud and sunshine across the area. A higher probability of showers off of the eastern Maritimes as that trough standing back from Newfoundland rotates around the area. Daytime highs tomorrow, high single digits, low teen values, and brisk to strong westerly winds again. But the highlight of this upcoming week, as long as we get some good clear nights coming along, will be the northern lights through the period October 4th to the 8th, the aurora borealis, and the peak days, specifically the 4th and the 5th, it looks like in the prediction, and viewing best, of course, near midnight. So there you go, aurora borealis. I'm done. Back to you guys.
That's right, Starlight, Star Bright. Let's take a look at ATV's primetime lineup for you tonight. Right after our show at 7 o'clock, Murder, She Wrote. 8 o'clock, it's Funniest Videos. 8:30, On Our Own. Then at 9 o'clock, it's Lois and Clark. And the 10 o'clock, CTV Sunday night movie, Jack Reed, Search for Justice.
And tomorrow night, right here at 6 o'clock, police say this woman is a national security threat, but nobody will tell her why. Nobody will even tell her member of parliament why. She's blacklisted. The I-Team is out for answers right here Monday nights at 6 o'clock. And that's all the time we have. Thanks for joining us, folks.
We'll see you again next weekend. Have a good night. Bye-bye.